Imagine if someone took everything you know and everything you've ever learned, and then just erased it. No warning, no explanation, just gone. This isn't a movie plot. It actually happened right here in ancient Egypt over 2,000 years ago, when one of the world's greatest libraries vanished practically overnight. What happened to the library? Who was behind its destruction? And could it really have been an ancient cover-up? We sent our team to find out. There's nothing more valuable to a civilization than knowledge. And nowhere was this more true than in ancient Alexandria. Over 2,000 years ago, it was home to the greatest library in the entire world. Founded by Ptolemy I in 283 BC, the library quickly amassed thousands of texts on every subject imaginable. But it wasn't just a storehouse of books. It was a center of learning, a place where scholars from all over the known world came to study. There were no other places like it. But today, no trace of the library remains. Its collection, which may have contained hundreds of thousands of texts, is gone. Its scholars are gone. Its buildings are gone. All that remains is a small hill near the coast of Alexandria. So, what happened to it? How did one of the greatest libraries in history vanish without a trace? The most popular theory is that the library was destroyed by a series of natural disasters, and there is evidence to support this claim. In 391 AD, a fire broke out in the city of Alexandria, destroying part of the city and likely some of the library's collections. A tsunami caused by an earthquake also struck around the same time, causing even more damage. Then in 475 AD, another fire broke out in Alexandria, consuming much of the city once again. These natural disasters likely caused significant damage to the library's collections, setting the stage for its eventual destruction. In 640 AD, Arab forces invaded Alexandria, looting the city and burning many of its buildings. This invasion likely dealt a fatal blow to the library, reducing it to a shadow of its former self. Finally, in 796 AD, Caliph Omar ibn Abd al-Aziz ordered the remaining texts to be destroyed, believing them to be heretical. This order marked the end of the library as a center of learning. Proponents of the natural disaster theory point to these events as evidence that the library was lost gradually over time through a series of unfortunate events. However, skeptics argue that these events alone cannot account for the complete destruction of the library. For example, the 391 fire is believed to have been confined to the eastern part of the city and would not have affected the library directly. Similarly, the tsunami and earthquakes are not believed to have caused widespread destruction in Alexandria. While they may have damaged some of the library's collections, they likely did not destroy the entire library. So why did so many people believe that the library was completely destroyed? Some believe that it may have been intentional, that someone wanted the library destroyed and took advantage of the confusion and chaos of war and natural disasters to cover up their tracks. But if this is true, who would benefit from the destruction of the library and why? One theory blames Julius Caesar, the Roman general who conquered Egypt in 48 BC. At the time, the library was home to a vast collection of ancient Greek texts, including many that were critical of Rome and its leaders. Supporters of this theory argue that Caesar ordered the destruction of the library in order to purge Alexandria of anti-Roman sentiment. They point to Caesar's own actions as evidence of his willingness to use violence to silence his critics. However, there are some problems with this theory. For example, there is no historical evidence that Caesar ordered the destruction of the library. In fact, the only account we have of the library's destruction comes from a single medieval historian who was writing centuries after the supposed destruction. Additionally, it is unlikely that Caesar would have targeted the library specifically. He was not known for his love of books and would not have understood the value of the library's collections. Instead, Caesar's decision to burn part of Alexandria may have been a simple mistake. He may have ordered his troops to set fire to the city's docks and warehouses in order to prevent them from falling into enemy hands, but he may not have realized that the fire would spread to the nearby library. This theory is supported by the fact that Caesar is known to have burned other buildings in Alexandria, including the palace of Ptolemy XIII. It is possible that the destruction of the library was simply an unfortunate side effect of his campaign against the Egyptian ruler. Others blame Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic kingdom of Egypt. According to this theory, Cleopatra ordered the destruction of the library in order to protect it from the advancing Roman army. Proponents of this theory point to Cleopatra's famous defense of Alexandria against Rome as evidence of her willingness to sacrifice anything to protect her city. They argue that she may have seen the destruction of the library as a necessary evil in order to defeat the Romans. However, there are also problems with this theory. There is no historical evidence that Cleopatra ordered the destruction of the library. In fact, the only account we have of the library's destruction comes from a single medieval historian who was writing centuries after the supposed destruction. Additionally, it is unlikely that Cleopatra would have targeted the library specifically. She was known for her love of learning and would have understood the value of the library's collections. Instead, Cleopatra's decision to burn part of Alexandria may have been a simple military tactic. She may have set fire to the city's warehouses and docks in order to prevent them from falling into enemy hands, but she may not have realized that the fire would spread to the nearby library. This theory is supported by the fact that Cleopatra is known to have burned other buildings in Alexandria, including her own palace. It is possible that the destruction of the library was simply an unfortunate side effect of her campaign against Rome. Still others blame Zenobia, queen of Palmyra, a city located in modern-day Syria. According to this theory, Zenobia invaded Egypt in 266 AD and destroyed the library in order to punish Alexandria for its support of Rome. However, this theory is not supported by any historical evidence. In fact, we don't know that Zenobia even invaded Egypt at all. It's possible that she may have looted the city, but there is no evidence that she went as far as destroying the library. So who destroyed the Library of Alexandria? The truth is, we don't know. There is no historical evidence that anyone deliberately destroyed the library. It is possible that the library was lost gradually over time through a series of unfortunate events. Fires, earthquakes, tsunamis, and invasions may have taken their toll on the library's collections, eventually leading to its destruction. But what do you think happened to the Library of Alexandria? Was it destroyed intentionally or accidentally? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And now for the big question. What happened to all those ancient scrolls and texts? Did they really vanish into thin air, or is there more to the story? According to some sources, a handful of books survived the destruction of the library and can still be found in museums and private collections today. One example is the Papyrus of Ani, an ancient Egyptian funerary text that depicts the journey of the deceased through the underworld. The papyrus dates back to around 1250 BC and was discovered in the ruins of Theban tombs in Luxor. Another example is the Papyrus of Petrie the Elder, which contains a copy of the Egyptian Book of the Dead. The papyrus dates back to around 100 AD and was discovered in the Egyptian desert in 1837. These are just two examples of ancient Egyptian texts that survived the destruction of the library. Others argue that many more texts survived, hidden away by monks or members of the royal court before the library was destroyed. Some believe that these texts may contain information that was too dangerous or controversial for the general public to know, and that those who hid them did so to protect the knowledge they contained. Others argue that these texts may simply have been lost over time, hidden away in attics or basements and eventually forgotten about. What is clear is that many ancient Egyptian texts survived the destruction of the library. Whether they were deliberately hidden or simply lost over time, these texts provide us with a valuable window into the past. They allow us to learn about ancient Egyptian culture, religion, and society in a way that no other source can. It's important to note that these theories are just that, theories. There is no hard evidence to support any of them. However, they provide an interesting look at one of history's greatest mysteries. If you're interested in learning more about the Library of Alexandria, there are several resources available. The British Museum has a website dedicated to the library, which includes information about its history as well as a selection of artifacts from its collection. The National Library of Egypt also has a website with information about the library, as well as a virtual tour of its current facilities. For those looking for a more in-depth study of the library, there are several books available. The Lost Library of Alexandria by Peter J. Throckmorton is a comprehensive overview of the library's history and the various theories surrounding its destruction. The Secret History of the Library of Alexandria by James R. McGaugh is a more recent book that offers a fresh perspective on the library's origins and its role in the ancient world. Ultimately, the fate of the Library of Alexandria remains a mystery. However, its legacy lives on in the countless works of art, literature, and film inspired by its grandeur. The library serves as a reminder of the importance of preserving knowledge and the dangers of censorship. Whether you believe that the library was destroyed intentionally or accidentally, one thing is certain: its loss was a tragedy. The Library of Alexandria was one of the greatest centers of learning in history, and its destruction deprived the world of countless works of literature, science, and philosophy. Thankfully, we can still learn about the library through the surviving accounts of ancient historians, as well as the artifacts that have been discovered in Alexandria. By studying the Library of Alexandria, we can gain a deeper understanding of the ancient world and the importance of preserving knowledge for future generations. Now I want to hear from you. What do you think happened to the Library of Alexandria? Do you think it was destroyed intentionally or accidentally? And do you think there are any other ancient libraries that we should know about? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more historical adventures.